Hey, Ali Mehdaoui here, and welcome to the ME Show podcast, where we give entrepreneurs the secrets, strategies, and processes to increase brand equity and max out revenue. All right. It is episode 1 of the ME Show podcast, and I am honored and privileged to have you here with me as we start this journey together. And within this podcast, you should absolutely anticipate a whole lot of nuggets, a whole lot of giveaways, a whole lot of stuff that I've learned over my career of 13 years, and a little bit of inspiration as well from experiences that I have had over the years, things that have not per se worked out for me, that you can learn from, and things that I've done really, really well and have set me, my wife, and our family up for the lifestyle that we have today. So first and foremost, I want you to understand that nothing that you're going to hear about in this podcast is 100% applicable to everyone. And at the same time, anything and everything is possible for everyone, but the common denominator between those who will succeed from the information that will be shared here and those who will not is simply application. So absolutely take notes. Make sure that you are reaching out to us in any of our social media assets, whether it is on Facebook, whether it is on Instagram, or simply just Google Ali Mehdaoui, and you can find us everywhere, as we do exist on the net, and we can definitely work with you at your own capacity. So first and foremost, if you may allow me, I'd like to tell you how we got to this point right here and right now, and it starts with June of 2009, where a gentleman, a friend of mine by the name of Doug Mehdaoui, reached out to me and had called over and over again, left voicemails and text messages while I was working in the restaurant business at the time. And Doug, great guy, loved him to death as a brother, and he stated that he was working with a multi-million-dollar company, and that I needed to take a look, and I would miss out if I don't, and it was something that I needed to be part of. And as you could imagine, I took it upon myself to totally ignore Doug, to not want to have anything to do with it, because as most people, my brain was thinking pyramid scheme, Ponzi scheme, a quick rich scheme. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was not the man that I am today. I did not know the things that I know today. So I was skeptical, I was negative. As a matter of fact, I was not even happy where I was in my life. So anyone that would reach out to me at any point at that time of my life with anything positive, I was automatically skeptical and thought, you just want to take advantage of me like everybody else did before you. So Doug ended up showing up in a restaurant where I was working, and he and I had a fun conversation and had asked me to give him 20 minutes. And we made an appointment. I said, I'll give you 20 minutes. And he showed me a few videos. So Tony Robbins for the very first time in my life, and Zig Ziglar, and Robert Kiyosaki, and how all of them were speaking about residual income, multiple streams of income, owning your life, receiving your own freedom, not giving your life to anybody else. And within those 20 minutes, my life has been changed forever. And I will be forever indebted to you, Doug, if you are hearing this episode. And it began from there with a network marketing company that I swore I wasn't going to get involved with. And I ended up paying $1,000, $500 for me and $500 for my wife. And like most, I thought that I was going to be rich in 3 days, and that after enrolling 2 people, life is going to be perfectly fine. And I'm sure you could only imagine it was not the case. As a matter of fact, it was an extremely painful learning process for 2 years before I even had what you would consider measurable success. And even more so, what ended up happening is we found ourselves in a situation where I was spending a lot of money. And I'm talking about a convention every 3 months. I'm talking about flights. I'm talking about paying for hotels 2 to 4 times a week. It was just expenses after expenses. And it started some issues between my wife and I, because all I was doing is taking money out of the bank account, and no results were coming into our bank account. So there needed to be a conversation of either what am I doing wrong, or am I cut off for this? And what we realized is I was not being a professional in what I was doing. What I realized, I was just winging it. I was barely showing up. I physically was there, but in terms of activity, I barely showed up. I'll give you an example. It's like that person that is part of a gym and pays their monthly membership, but shows up for 20 minutes, does some walk, not even a run, on the treadmill, stretches a little bit, and as soon as he or she gets out, it is nothing but burgers, beer, donuts, and just absolute horrible behavior. So that was me, and I needed to make a decision, and thank God we did. So I decided to become a professional network marketer at the time. That was the hot thing to say. And it came at a price. I went to many seminars. I went to many masterminds. I've paid many coaches. I've purchased many courses and modules and books and anything under the sun that you may think of. I was part of it. And at first, my wife and even myself were wondering, you're spending a lot more money than you said you were going to stop doing. Where is these results? And then I had to develop myself. Personal growth was an absolute important element that just was not a thing that I understood fully. So the more that concept of personal development started to kick in, the more attractive I started to become to those who were around us and in a social media space. The more people became attractive, the more I actually fed off of that. I loved the idea that people were noticing my growth, and I did not want to disappoint, to the point that I not only started learning so much more, but at 1 year alone, actually between 2 years, we spent about $50,000+ on masterminds and coaching and private mentorship and things of that nature. And it wasn't because I needed to flex my muscles, financially speaking, but because I knew that's what I needed to actually do. I knew that you go to a 4-year college because you get higher education, and whether you need it or not, that's not the discussion in here, but the foundation of that education just makes you better. It exposes you to more data. It exposes you to more critical thinking, and that's what that became for me, where I needed to create my own style of university or style of education within those who were in my space. And let me tell you, 2015, 16, 17, 18, all the way up to 19 were some of the best years that I've personally had from branding, from selling a book that sold in 7 countries, from expanding our network at the time to 15 countries, from having hundreds and hundreds of private clients all over, whether they were on Facebook groups, whether they were private clients, whether they were in different masterminds, speaking all over the world. It was just an incredible season for us. And the one thing that was always happening is when it came to network marketing specifically, the more I would rise to the top, the harder the fall would be. And what I mean is, I'm sure you probably know where this is heading. I would go all out and build these massive networks and create hundreds of millions of dollars of production for these network marketing companies. And the first one sold in 2015. And I mean, it left us flat on our faces. It was just horrible of a feeling, especially that was the first time I went through something like that. 9 months later, a second company had issues with the FTC where their reporting and their factual data did not match. Second punch, even worse. Especially we've built that company in 6 countries right after what took place in our first company. Then it went to a different direction where I got approached by an energy company out of New Jersey. It was not a network marketing company, but they saw value in the profession of network marketing as a distribution strategy and reached out and said, hey, we want you to build a network marketing division for us. And with a handful of people, we did just that. And 100,000 customers later, and you would think a year later, everything is going great. that publicly traded company started essentially taking what I was creating and redistributing it in other places of their companies. Again, this is a $1.6 billion company. So as you can imagine, I was not happy at all seeing what actually was taking place with my content that I was creating, with my information that I was providing. And that was supposed to be for my clientele. And it was just a horrible ending for a happy experience, if you will. But that's when I decided I will actually build a brand. I will build something that I own, something that no one can take away from me, something that no one can have direct impact on. And that's when the idea of Mehdaoui Enterprise and the ME logo that is everywhere now is what it is today. So why am I telling you this story is specifically for those of you who are network marketing. You give all out, and that's great. I do the same exact thing. But the one thing that you fail at miserably is not giving yourself the full authority of your brand. In other words, you're selling for a company, their product, their service, their compensation plan, their culture, which is amazing. That's what you're supposed to do. But when it comes to branding or marketing yourself, you're marketing yourself as a sales rep. Just think about the idea of you just being a sales rep. You demote yourself from this process of being an entrepreneur, an elevated role in your community, in your family, to a sales rep. So my recommendation to you is right now, as you're hearing this, make a decision to build your brand. And throughout this whole journey and many of these episodes that you're going to be hearing from, I will give you exact tools, resources, and the ways we've done them. And for most cases, without breaking the bank. You don't have to go and spend $50,000 in a year or 2 years in order to develop a conglomerate of a company or a brand. I will give you exactly tools and resources how you can do it starting today at the level that you are in, whether you are just a novice, whether it's just a side gig for you, or whether you really are ready to take things to a whole new level and achieve your milestones, make your core values known to the world. So the moment we started this brand is the moment where we started getting more inquiries. People started reaching out to us. And a shift started happening. I realized for the very first time that instead of me going out there and looking for a new prospect and piquing people's interest and just doing the traditional MLM things that everybody's doing, right? Talk to 1 out of 10 who will look at the value, and 1 out of 30 in cold market who are going to be ready to take the relationship to the next level. And if you are really, really good, you could average more than 3 enrollments a month. And the shift that has taken place was people started reaching out to me. People started sending me messages that would say things like, I don't know what you're doing exactly, but I love it. And I thought to myself, what is wrong with people? What is it that has happened? And I needed to do a self-evaluation. What was happening is I started attracting people when they realized I was no longer hunting, but I was only giving value. I was no longer going after people for the sake of a commission, but I started creating content that helped everybody, whether it was from a personal perspective or a business perspective. I became a valuable asset to my community, to my environment, to my friends and my followers on social media. That's what a brand is. Most people think having a brand is having a logo, a website, a color scheme, a cool name that you're known for. That's marketing. That's not branding. That's a collateral that is going along with your brand. But your brand is what is your value in the eyes of the masses? How do you identify with your community? What solutions do you provide? What is your promise to your community? That is your brand. And obviously, we're going to dig a little bit deeper into that. And there's so much more that you're going to learn from this podcast. And the main thing is this. You need to answer these 3 questions that I'm going to give you right now. If you are able to answer these 3 questions, you will be able to, at least today and right now, cultivate your brand, to identify your niche, to identify the solutions that you provide. And then on the second part of what I'm about to share with you is 4 questions that are going to help you to operate at a company level, at a corporation level, at a business level, not as a side gig level, because you are bigger than side gig. I get it that you're part-time, but don't treat it like a side gig. So let me get right into it. First things first, the 3 questions that you need to identify your niche and have the ability to create a brand. You ready for it? The very first one. Who do you help? Who do you help? That is a question that you must answer right away. That's how you identify your target audience. Let me give you an example. Let's say that I am talking right now about things for entrepreneurs. But then, if I did not mention it at the very beginning, who am I helping and what this podcast is doing, I might be talking to the wrong people and I might be getting turned off by a lot more people than getting listened to. But because I identified that I work with entrepreneurs, struggling entrepreneurs, to give them secrets, strategies, processes that can help them scale their business, I identified for me and for my audience, what are you going to get if you speak to me? What are you going to get if you read any of my publications or if you listen to any of my podcasts or videos or things of that nature? Number 2, how do you help them? So this is the part that you let the individual know, again, whether it's podcasts, whether it's YouTube videos, whether it's Facebook Lives, whatever you may be, you want to be able to let them know how you're going to help them. So for example, I focus on helping struggling entrepreneurs, that's my who, by creating processes to manage their social media assets, that's the how, for example, to scale their business and create brand equity. And that's the third part that I'm going to tell you about in a second. So you need to identify the how. If I know how you're going to help me, I'll come back for more because I will identify that is an area that I need help with. Third question is, what do you help or what result do you create? So the first one is, who do you help? The second one, how do you help them? And the third one, what results do you create? I need to know what's the end result. I need to know that I'm either going to scale my business, generate more clientele, sell more homes, have more prospects, more leads, whatever it may be. The what component, though, the results that you're going to create, that's the last one. See, what most people do when they're asked, what do you do? They say, I'm a carpenter. I'm a business coach. Yeah, that's great. That's a title. That's not what you do. See, when I know who do you help, how do you help them, and what results you create, now that gives me an extensive understanding of what you actually do. 3 questions that will absolutely change forever the way your business is. And it changed everything for me. Every time I start a Facebook Live or every time I'm speaking on any platform or in a panel or an interview, I always let right off the bat, the moment I start, who do I help, how do I help them, and what are the results that I create? That way I capture the right audience immediately and right away. So that is the 3 components that you need to start with right now in order. And please, if you're driving, do this when you're home. Don't try to write or type in your phone while you're driving. Now, the 4 questions that I'm about to give you are operational questions. So the first 3 are for branding and marketing. The second set of questions, these 4, are for operation purposes. Number 1, what is your vision? What is your vision? This is such an easily missed piece of the puzzle. You know, when you want to raise money, when you want to acquire a client, when you want to build a team, if they don't see your vision, if they don't actually see it, feel it, they feel like they lived it, you're not going anywhere. You're absolutely not getting anywhere, as a matter of fact. So the mistake that everybody makes when it comes to a vision, simply this. They say, oh, in 3 to 5 years from now, I see myself. Now, that's not your vision. That's what's going to happen in the future. See, a vision is what was, what is, and what will be. When somebody asks me about my vision or my end goal or my favorite thing, even when they ask, hey, So what is it that you actually are building? Or why are you doing what you're doing? Or why did you start Mehdaoui Enterprise? That's my greatest pleasure to let them know. And what I do is I say, it's funny, you should ask. Or it's a long story. Either way, it's a lot of fun for me to answer that question. And here's how it goes. I start with my past, how I got married with my beautiful bride. Back when we were in 22 and 21 years old. I share how we were both working hard and I was in a restaurant business. I share how it was a struggle in terms of our first year in marriage because I was never home. 2 years actually of marriage because it just was horrible. And we didn't have the money to show for the hard work that we were working all the time. I share about how I started in my network marketing company and thought I was going to be rich in 3 days. I share about how I made it out of the restaurant business and started traditional businesses. And even though I thought I was becoming successful, I would have companies that would just drop us to the ground. And I identified for everybody. That's when I decided I'm going to start a brand so I can own what I do. And therefore, I decided, why don't I just teach this to everybody else so they never have to go through what I've gone through? And that's when I started a marketing and consulting firm. You see how it went from what was, what is, now what will be. Now I'm focusing on sponsoring kids all over the world, helping them out, get out of the slums, helping them out, get out of horrible poverty, helping them out in a social and a financial aspect, but at the same time, teaching them entrepreneurship. And I'm so proud to be part of an entrepreneurial community that does just that. See, that's your vision. You hearing that, you buy into the vision, you buy into the concept. You're like, man, I want to be part of your mission. So don't make a mistake and say in 3 to 5 years, but when somebody wants to know or is having that open conversation about your story, make sure you let them know what was, what is, and what will be. Second question of the operational side of things. What culture are you building? See, you have to have a culture. See, think about Nike. Just do it. It's challenging. Think about Mountain Dew. Is it in you? Do you have what it takes kind of attitude, right? Think about McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. Think about every and all companies that you're spending money on. They have a specific culture. A culture is a union that you would want to be part of. It's like a community that you just don't want to miss out of. If you look at Facebook groups right now, they're a very popular aspect of what is happening in Facebook. That's because they're creating communities about specific cultures. Harley-Davidson culture, mompreneurs, dadpreneurs, all of those are cultures. You have to have a culture. That's when people feel excited about sharing the platform with you. That's when people feel excited about being part of what you are doing. And that'll help you identify your demographic even better. So the best way to create a culture is imagine yourself in a stadium or in a sold out event that you are the highlighted speaker and you just finished talking. It's your 100% your event. And now you're walking off that stage and people are coming to you asking you for, can we take a picture? Can you sign an autograph? Can you share one last thing with me? Imagine the kind of people you're talking to. Are they parents? Are they couples? Are they youth? What kind of demographic? And there's no wrong answer. Any of those individuals that you can think of, write them down. That's your subconscious mind speaking to you about who belongs in your culture. That way, you could be in an airport sitting down. If you understand your culture, you understand who belongs in your culture, you can pinpoint your prospect from a mile away, and you know for a fact you have the highest chance that that individual will end up doing business with you. Number 3, what problem do you and only you solve? This is where everybody falls flat, because when I ask people all the time in business, hey, what problem do you and only you solve? You know what they say? Oh, I can help people be motivated. I can help people lose weight. I can help people with this and that. Well, my friend, that's not a problem that you're solving, because I can go to Google or YouTube right now and I'll find 1,000 people who say the same exact thing. What it comes down to is, what problem have I solved in the past that now becomes my responsibility to share with everybody in the future? See, entrepreneurs, we just figured out solutions to certain things and then we started charging other people for them. That's really all it comes down to. See, if you fix your credit that was ruined at once upon a time, you now can sell classes about how to fix credit. If you were negative and not motivated and going through horrible circumstances over and over and over, and you created a process to get yourself out of that, you now can solve that problem. This is where it's okay to be vulnerable, honest, and truthful about your past and about every single issue, challenge, problem that you've had. And guess what? This will eliminate the concept of competition. This will allow you to have your own DNA in the business community, that no matter what people say, oh yeah, no, I listen to Les Brown all the time, but even if after watching his videos, I don't feel like doing anything. Well, that's where you can say, well, let me share with you my story. I was molested as a child. I was homeless at one point of my life. I attempted suicide at the age of 19. I built 7 traditional businesses and lost them all to Hurricane Sandy. I've built hundreds of millions of dollars of companies, and they pulled everything from under me. And with all of that, I am still standing here with a successful company and a successful brand and a successful life and a successful marriage. And here's the thing. Les Brown wouldn't get on the phone with you like I am right now. And this is why I don't care who is out there. I don't compete. I only collaborate. So open up to what you've overcome. It will give you your own identity. Number 4, and this is the last piece of the puzzle. And before we do, just keep in mind that we go live on Facebook every single day in English, in French, and also in Spanish. So check out the description itself where we have all the links. And we have over 300 videos on YouTube, complimentary content that we're just giving you so we can help you out in every shape, form, or capacity. And make sure you pick up a copy of The Lion Network Marketer, available everywhere where books are sold. It is one of the Amazon bestsellers that we sold in 7 different countries. Very soon it will be coming in audiobook, and we'll be letting you know about that as well. Now, here is the 4th step for you to operate your business like a company. You need to operate on a budget. See, the problem that most people have, they are not operating on a budget. What they actually do is, unfortunately, they're playing the paycheck to paycheck card. They just show up and go to the ATM whenever they need to spend or buy something for their business, and they wonder why they never have money to purchase a course or to spend money on a website or on an opportunity that hits them right in the face. That, oh, I don't have money. No, it's not that you don't have money. It's you've never budgeted to make sure that you have money. Every Fortune 100 company, Fortune 500, or even Fortune 5,000 companies, or to be honest with you, any successful brick and mortar or mom and pop or successful entrepreneur out there, we all have a budget. We all say 20% of these profits that are coming in, I'm going to put right back into my bank account. 18% is going to collateral. 5% is going through preparation and supplies and so on and so forth. And then when somebody says, I have an opportunity for you to upgrade your SEO, to upgrade your website, to upgrade your branding, yada, 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 because we've allocated the funds every single month, even if we did not use them, I now have the money available to upgrade my game up. While you will say, I don't have money. So operate on a budget. No matter what your budget is, operate on a budget. You'll be doing yourself a huge, huge favor, and you won't be missing out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are rebranding our website as well, winwithali.com. Make sure you check us out. Make sure you leave us some love. We appreciate it when you give us some reviews and you give us some stars on this podcast, because it motivates us and it gives us the brand equity to give you a lot more. And keep in mind, very soon, and we're looking at about a week or so, we're going to start giving away gifts, whether it's gift cards, whether it's vacations, whether it's different items or complimentary coaching sessions to those of you who are giving us reviews, who are sharing all over the internet. So we appreciate you and thank you. This has been episode number 1, and we look forward to seeing you yet again in the near future. Thank you again. Ali Mehdaoui, your strategic partner with Mehdaoui Enterprise and the ME Show podcast. We are out.